Hey, I'm Carly, and I am about to walk you through exactly how teachers are making $20 to $30,000 in recurring monthly revenue by teaching online. Before we get into the exact strategy, let me just talk for a minute about who this video is not for. So if you are happy being an employee, you can stop watching right now. This video is for teachers who are looking to freelance or start a full-blown business where they are building teams. Essentially, what that looks like is like a little tiny virtual private school, micro school, however you want to call that. It's a group of teachers who are working directly with clients. So if you are happy being employed, you can leave this video right now. Um, the second thing is you want to be aiming for at least a $5,000 month. So if your goal is anywhere below 5K right now, this program is probably not going to be a fit for you. The rest of my YouTube content is where you want to go just to get warmed up. Okay. So if you are looking to work independently and make at least 5K a month, let's dive in. What does that look like? So most teachers, what they are doing, I'm going to share some numbers. Most teachers are in this top column. So they're charging something like 40 hours or $40 an hour. They're hustling, teaching 40 hours per week, and they're only bringing in something like 64,000 per year. So that is the low end of the private teaching spectrum. So if we just fix one thing here, let's increase the rate. So instead of charging a ridiculously low $40 an hour, we are going to charge at least 100. So from here, you can see nothing else changes. They're still teaching 40 hours a week. However, the annual revenue has jumped to 160K, which is looking a lot better already. So a lot of people are here more for time freedom than financial reward. So if 160 sounds, like nice, but I'm not willing to spend 40 hours a week live teaching, cool. We can just keep that high rate. We can cut the hours in half. So we're teaching 20 hours per week now and still bringing in a comfortable 80K. I've based all of this on a 40-week year, by the way, because we still need like some summer holidays. So when you're really looking to scale in terms of time for money, group classes are the way to go. This feels really aligned for both teachers and parents because we can charge a little bit less and we can still deliver amazing quality because our groups are small. So the 250 per hour rate that I have here is based on 5 kids, each paying $50. So you can slide those numbers up or down if you wanted to do 10 kids at $25, works out the same. So shooting for a rate of 250 per hour for group lessons, we can keep that 20-hour week and we more than double our cash. So this shakes out to $200,000 per year. Most people are pretty happy there. Like that's a solid workload. It's a good income. That's typically the dream. If you do want to hustle and you want to teach 30 or 40 hours per week, again, without changing the hourly rate, you're sticking with that group model, you can be making as much as $300,000, $400,000 per year. So I chose 300 as the title for this video because there is obviously some admin time on top of these 30-hour weeks. So I would call this full time, and this one here I would call overtime. But for 400K a year, you know, I know a lot of teachers who are working a lot of overtime for a lot less. So I just wanted to use that as a bit of an anchor here. You could reasonably make $400,000 as just one person. You could teach 40 hours a week. If you taught like only Math 6 every hour all week, your prep time would be pretty low. So you can optimize by doing things like that. So if you're looking at these numbers thinking that sounds amazing, I could definitely teach groups of 5 for $250 an hour. Sign me up. How does this work? I'm going to walk you through exactly how we do it in this video. Before we do that, I want you to grab a pen and a paper. So I'm going to be giving you the entire strategy here. You're going to want to write this stuff down. But before we get into writing down the strategic piece, we need to talk about the reason that you want to do this in the first place. So, traditional marketing wisdom tells me this is the point in the video where I need to talk about the pain points of the school system. And I can't find the words. I have spent the last 3 years getting on calls with teachers all around the world who tell me the most horrific stories. And to generalize is impossible. And to share examples of their stories, even anonymously, it still feels like a violation. So many of these teachers were straight up abused for advocating for their students. And I'm not willing to turn that into content. So, what I'm going to do instead is get you to write down your big reason. So, the prompt is the school system is no longer serving me because. So, even if you're already a business owner, even if you're already out of the school system, remind yourself why you started this business in the first place. And sometimes there's a belief left over from the conditioning of the school system that we also need to jot down because it is no longer serving you. So, a really common one that I come up against is the need to over explain and to justify why we've done something. That was programmed into us inside the school system. So, maybe if you're a little further along on the business journey, you're going to write down something like the need to over explain is no longer serving me. But whatever it is, whatever the block that you're coming up against is, write that at the top of the page. We're going to fill the rest of it with strategy. But just pause the video right here and write down why you're interested in learning this strategy in the first place. Don't skip this. This is your anchor because the things that I'm going to ask you to do in this strategy are not easy to do. They're going to push you outside of your comfort zone, and it's all going to be worth it in the end. But there are going to be days where you need to come back to this tangible little note that you wrote yourself and go, oh, yeah, that's what's not serving me. That's why I need to make a change. That's why I'm pushing myself. So, for the sake of your own success, go ahead and write down what is not working and then restart the video. Let me tell you why I'm confident I can help you grow to 10K months. I'm not new to online teaching. My name is Carly. I started my own online teaching business in 2017. We've since served thousands of learners. We have over 600 five-star parent reviews. But here's the thing, it was not always that way. I spent 7 years online teaching before I figured out what was missing. So that was 7 years of posting in parent Facebook groups every single day, trying to remember which days I was allowed to post and not break any rules. I created over 1,000 posts on Instagram and got absolutely no business from them. My main income was through a platform that took 30% of everything that I made forever in a space that was so competitive, I was practically invisible. I told myself that growth would come naturally, that I didn't need help, that investing in mentorship was for people who were already making money. I just couldn't see it. But despite how hard I was working, I was barely surviving. And the worst part was, I knew I was a great teacher. When students found me, they stayed with me for years. I had a learner fly from Denmark with her mom and dad. She flew to Canada to meet me because the relationships that I built through those classes were real. So, having taught over 2,000 online students, I had built offers from scratch. I knew I had something real to offer the world. And after 7 years of trying to figure it out on my own, I still had no idea how to turn my teaching skill into a real business. Finally, I hired a marketing and sales coach. Within a year, everything changed. I couldn't miss a 10K month. And I could have done it years earlier if I hadn't kept waiting until I could afford it. I lost 7 years and I know exactly what that costs, and not just financially, although the financial total is astounding, but even just in belief, because every month that nothing changes, you believe a little less that change is even possible. And that is exactly why I built Educator Accelerator, because I never want another great teacher to go through what I went through and waste years of their life missing out on hundreds of thousands in potential income and all of the kids that need their help. And this is not just my story. So, teachers like Hannah, she went from 160 pounds a month to 30,000 pounds a month in just a year and a half of working with me. Now, I help teachers across Canada, the US, and the UK build businesses that allow them to leave the classroom, charge what they are worth, and actually be present for their families without burning out. I want to walk you through exactly how I help teachers build $10, $20, $30,000 months inside of Educator Accelerator. There are essentially three things that you need to do. So grab that notepad again with your big reason on the top. You're going to want to write these three things down. All right, so the first thing we need to do is nail your premium positioning. And I want to be honest with you, this is where most teachers get it wrong. This is what cost me 7 years, 1,000 posts. I never figured this out. So, what most teachers do is they start posting content and lots of it. Canva carousels, we're especially fond of our Canva carousels. Um, Pretty graphics. I hired a social media manager. I built a website. I was working really hard and putting in real money, and it was crickets. No engagement, no sales. And it's genuinely demoralizing because I felt like I was doing everything I was supposed to do. The problem wasn't effort. The problem wasn't my willingness to invest. I was paying a graphic designer to make me branded content. The problem was that without the right positioning, no amount of content volume is ever going to move the needle. So parents who are scrolling Instagram are not going to stop and think, oh, this teacher seems great if it's just Canva stock photos. So they immediately need to feel like you are speaking directly to their child's specific problem. And if your profile and your messaging and your content is not engineered around that, you are invisible. And here's the thing, figuring out what right looks like for your specific niche, your offer, and the exact parents that you want to be attracting, it's not something that you can reverse engineer from a YouTube video or a content calendar or anything like that. It requires someone who has done this before, who can look at your situation specifically, your goals, your lifestyle, your offer, and how you want it all to play out, and say, here's exactly what your profile needs to say. This is the type of content that is going to convert for you, and this is why. So that is exactly what I build out for my clients in step one. We create that together. So once the premium positioning is dialed in, the second thing that we need to do is build a student pipeline, meaning a consistent, predictable way to bring qualified parents directly to you every single day, whether you are creating new organic content or not. So this is where most teachers get stuck. They rely entirely on organic content and they think they need to pump it out constantly. So they're posting in Facebook groups. They are putting offers on teaching platforms that are going to take 30 to 50% of everything they earn and give them no control in their business. And what happens is their income is inconsistent at best. Some months are okay, and some are really scary, and they're looking at job postings. So, the fastest path to a full-time income is going to be pairing that organic content with a low budget targeted ad that is designed specifically to reach the parents of the kids that you want to teach. So, what most teachers don't realize is running the wrong ad is not just ineffective, it can be extremely expensive. And I've seen teachers burn a lot of money and get zero quality leads because the scripting was off, the targeting was off, or the offer just wasn't clear. So, what to say, how to say it, how to film it, how to edit it, how to target it, how to track it, all of that needs to be customized to your niche and your offer. There is no one size fits all ad that works for every teacher. Getting this wrong doesn't just waste money, it wastes time, and that kills momentum right in the early stages of the business, exactly when you need it most. That is what we build together in step two. And then the third piece, and honestly, this is one that most teachers never even get to, is sales strategy. So this is how we are going to turn the leads in your pipeline, random strangers from Instagram, into actual paying clients and recurring revenue. So most teachers, when they come to me, they are very aware that they have a marketing problem. They say they don't know how to find students. So we fix that first. We do that in step one and two. And unfortunately, even after they are getting leads, they still cannot close those leads. So it's not because their offer is bad. It's not because they're bad at teaching. It is because they were never taught how to sell. So they talk about their teaching methodology, they explain curriculum, they get really technical, and the parent on the other side is just glazing over. They have no idea. They don't care because parents don't buy methodology, they buy outcomes for their kids. This is not something you can wing, okay? So sales is like swimming. Yes, you can watch some YouTubes, you can read a book, you can understand in theory that you kick your feet and you wave your arms and you breathe deeply, and that is swimming. That doesn't mean you have any business jumping in the deep end of the pool, okay? Understanding in theory and practicing are very different things, and that is why you need a coach. It is a skill and it has to be built around your specific offer, your specific price point, and the specific objections that parents in your niche are going to throw at you on repeat. If you try to figure this out yourself with leads that you paid for from that ad, you are bringing in leads at a cost and then testing a sales strategy on them, That is the fastest way to burn cash and end your business. So that is what we build in step 3, a sales strategy that is customized to you specifically. So premium positioning, student pipeline, sales strategy. Those are the 3 things standing between you and 20K teaching months. So in order to help you build those 20K recurring months, we would partner up for 120 days inside Educator Accelerator. If you want all of the nitty-gritty details and deliverables, please DM me the word educator so that I know you understand what you're signing up for. You've made it through this video. The investment is between 5 to 10,000 US dollars, depending on the exact level of support that you need. Please do not book a call if you are not prepared to make that investment. If mentorship looks like a great fit on both sides, we will get you onboarded during that discovery call. Okay. Looking forward to seeing you on that call. Please, again, DM me the word educator to confirm that you've seen this entire video and you're ready to go.